Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my 2025 edition of a Gear 12, Gear 13 farming guide. I made one a couple years ago and it still holds up for the most part, but I have a lot more experience with a new account that I started fresh at the beginning of 2024, and I always get asked how I Gear 13 characters so quickly. So I did want to cover that in this video. We're going to be talking all about these Gear 12 pieces, these purple support pieces, as I call them. I will refer to those as support. Gear 12 plus pieces, Gear 12 plus support pieces, and then finally we're going to talk about Gear 13 finishers. So we're going to talk about all that, what the efficient ways to farm them are, starting with a tally of what the most important and most prevalent pieces we have to deal with are. So for this time around, this guide, I did make my own graphic to demonstrate what the most commonly needed Gear 12 pieces are, Gear 12 plus, all that. So the most common by far are, there's a couple close, but is this piece. I don't have its name pulled up, but I don't think many people care about that. They're long, complicated names. But it's honestly one of the better pieces with all these stat spreads out there. So each of these Gear 12, so think left side pieces, are going to need 30 of whatever salvage that resembles the finished piece, and then 40 of these support pieces. And I have in pictures which purple support piece is used for each type. And as far as the Gear 12 pieces, each Gear 12 finished piece only uses one individual type of support piece. There's no overlap, and that is not true for Gear 12 Plus. Gear 12 Plus, we have a ton of different pieces, and therefore a ton of different characters needing these med packs, needing these scanners, and then some needing this hypo syringe. So this piece used 220 times. This shield, this chest plate thing used 181 times. The knife, 155, 134 for the med pack, 72 down for this piece. So these pieces are used way less frequently. They're not even in the triple digits yet, whereas this is over 200. So not all pieces are needed quite the same amount of time. And this is only accurate as of the day I'm recording this, which would be September 5th, 2025. Any new character added will change these totals. But all the way down to 41 times only for this piece. This piece gives special damage, special crit resistance, critical rating. So you don't need as much of this Carbonti or this Mark 8, whatever that's called, disc. Don't be fooled, there's two different ones. This Mark 8 does not use as much. This Mark 7 disc looking thing is used quite frequently. So when you're picking up different shipments, you don't need to load up on these pieces as much. You're going to be needing to load up a lot more on the med packs, the scanners, and then to an extent the syringes in these Mark 7s. So that is the Gear 12 pieces. We're going to talk about farming them later, but I just wanted to get a lay of the land of what is actually out there. Next up, we got the Gear 12 Plus pieces, and there are 6 individual different types of pieces. 3 of them use the bed pack, the purple thing right here. 2 of them use the scanner, and then 1 uses this hypo syringe. So that's why these purple med packs, Mark 6 med packs, are in such high demand, and you never feel like you have enough of them. You just need more of them than any of these other purple pieces. You need 100, or the Mark 12 furnace is used 188 times by different characters. You might not be using those individual characters. Maybe you're only using characters that use some of these other pieces. So it still ultimately matters which characters you're actually farming. But just, I wanted to provide some insight onto why some of these pieces seem like they're more needed than others. So each of these is going to require 50 salvage pieces that match the icon of the finished piece. 40 of it's the yellow support pieces, and then 40 of these, and then some sub Gear 12 gear. But that is not the focus of this video. And then also some of the salvage pieces that 50 count you need are also needed for the Gear 13 finishers, and we'll talk about that. But that is the furnace, this thing, HoloLens, and then the data pad, which is right over here. So let's look at the Gear 13 finisher. We're going to be talking about how to farm these, best ways to do it right after the finishers. And this is the total number of each individual type of finisher that is out there in the game. We have a little over 300 characters now, and they're remarkably even. This one, I guess, which is called the injector head, is used 101 times. I had to count on Swigga.gg one by one, so it could be slightly off, but 101 for each of these pieces, 103 for the injector cell, and then 2 of them require this Kyrotechs shock prod, the cell, and the injector head, which explains why it always feels like you need more of that piece, which is actually a good thing because that has a better node for farming. And I'll talk about that when we get to the farming list. All these require either this Mark 8 kind of hollow looking thing or droid collars as its subgear 12 piece. And like I mentioned, you got the fusion furnace salvage, the datapad salvage, and the HoloLens salvage. So the good thing about the finishers, you only need one per character to get them to gear 13, which means only 50 of this other salvage. And to me, it seems like I never actually have to farm this because of assault battles. I'm going to talk about farming these pieces after all the major stuff, the gear 12, the support pieces, all that. But gear 13 finishers don't feel too painful other than the Kyrotech. The Kyrotech is a thing on its own, and I'm not going to dive a huge amount into everything about Kyrotech because that's its own video, but those are probably the biggest obstacles to these finishers. So now we can finally start to talk about the most efficient way to go about farming all this stuff. And the most important resource, in my opinion, probably objectively, but in my opinion, for getting gear 12 to gear 13 is raid currency, specifically Mark II raid tokens. Now, the guild I'm in with the Kyrotechs account is running the current raid. That is not necessary. That's not absolutely necessary. Even if you did Speeder Bike Pursuit and you got third crate, you'd still get the same amount of Mark II tokens. Mark II tokens are the important thing for... Gosh, I can't navigate this stupid menu. That's the important thing for actually farming Gear 12, Gear 12 Plus. The Mark III tokens, that helps you get from like Relic 6 to 9. And that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about Gear 12 to Gear 13. So then you go down to this part in this part of the store and you think, what do I actually pick? What's worth it? So I devised this little graphic demonstrating what the cost per salvage piece is of each type. So one piece of a furnace, so a Gear 12 Plus piece, costs 67 currency. A secondary Gear 12 Plus piece costs 57. The purple pieces, so all the different purple types we've talked about, cost 95 per piece. And then for the Gear 12 normal yellow that you need 30 of per piece you're working with, it costs 85 per piece. So it's a little counterintuitive. In other currencies, these are definitely way more expensive than these, like Shard Shop currency, and that's going to be really important for this type of thing. But the best strategy, if you want to get the best value out of each Mark II token, is to go with the Gear 12 Plus pieces, either the primary or secondary. They're not that much of a difference. This is the best value, but you're going to need to buy both, and that is going to be your way to get those left two pieces on the top right and then the middle right. But avoid picking up these if you can, unless you absolutely are in a time crunch and really need it, because they're just not going to go as far for you. And I can already anticipate the criticism that, hey, Sanjita, your Kyrotechs account is in a big guild because you leveraged your status as a YouTuber. You don't have to be in a big guild. Yes, this is a pretty big guild for my 5 million account, 428. That is not the important thing. This is the important thing. So if you want to scout a guild to see if they're actually a good guild, an active guild, go to their Swigga.gg profile, go to the raids tab, and look at the differential between the dates that the raid was run. So look at this, 8/15, 8/21, 6 days, 8/21, 8/27, 6 days. So 6 days, 6 days, probably gonna be a 7-day in there at some point, but we run this, everyone gets all their tickets every day. And we are typically full, 50 members. So that's what you wanna look for. You wanna look for people actually playing. Tickets are not hard to get anymore. Any energy you spend gets you tickets. So it's just having warm bodies that participate. And as long as you can do like the speeder bike raid, you can get plenty of that Mark II currency. So just try to be in the most active guild you can, whatever the size is. So I really can't stress enough how important that raid currency is for the Gear 12 Plus side of things. And I know I'm going over that before the Gear 12 normal pieces, but you really want to focus on that here. There's some you farm with fleet energy. So I typically farm the ones, this is the more common one. We showed that this one is needed a lot more often, this furnace. So I recommend with whatever leftover fleet energy you have, you farm this piece, because it's always going to get you some good low level gear for relic scraps. So either do this one or this one if you have it available, just because it has the ancillary benefit of having a good relic gear. You do need this one kind of a lot. If I do go for something other than that, if I have a specific need, it's typically for this med pack, which I showed you need a ton of, and there's so many different pieces that need it, or this Nubian scanner. So that's at the very end of Sector 5. So I think 2, 3, internally in my mind, I know I like Sector 2, 3, and 4. I don't really know of any great nodes in Sector 4 or Sector 1, but those are the big focuses. With your fleet energy, normal energy, we don't really get as much for the Gear 12 Plus side of things. And the only other currencies, so it's tough with the Get 2, because Get 2 you can buy those pieces. It's not typically worth it. You typically want to buy Kyrotech if you can. So Kyrotech, this is a main source of income there. With your normal energy, you don't want to be farming any Gear 12 or Gear 12 Plus pieces specifically. Typically, you just farm this till the cows come home. This piece, we already showed that's used for more Gear 13 finishers than the other side, roughly twice as many. So you're going to need twice as many to get from Gear 12 to Gear 13 of this piece as your the dark side piece. And this is going for bronzing wiring. So you want to think about what you're going to do when you actually get to Gear 13. You want the relic material, so you want that bronzing wiring too. So this is a high value node. So now that we know the type of currencies that we want for Gear 12 Plus pieces, we want that in the guild activity side of things, and then Kyrotech, guild event side of things, Get 2 and Get 3. What do we actually... Oh, and also for Kyrotech, GAC currency. Very important for Kyrotech. So always check that out. Pick up Kyrotech here. So they're right next to each other. The yellow ones. You pick up Kyrotech. So what do we do for Gear 12 flat pieces? You might not need anything else other than shard shop currency. And I am deeming this the 360 rule. So I picked up this piece and this piece here already from this shipment. I recommend you check the store every refresh. It refreshes every 6 hours. You know, if it's in the middle of the night, if you have it roll over at midnight and then you don't get up before 6, you're going to miss that one. That's fine. Check the store every time. I am blind to everything that doesn't cost 360 pieces. These are all over here. Sub Gear 12 pieces, there's a mod thing, there's a Gear 12 Plus. This is what I'm talking about. These cost exactly double. So for 4 pieces of the purple or the Gear 12, it costs 360, and then for 4 pieces of the Gear 12 Plus, it's 720. It's exactly double the cost. So I just am completely blind to this. I don't see it. This ship stuff, I don't know, situational. Like, yes, I have bought the light side and dark side currency when I'm trying to really rush a Galactic Legend farm, but just these 3 slots, like, that should be almost exclusively what you use your shard shop currency for in terms of gear. I farm datacrons, yes, on both accounts. On this small account, not as much. On the big account, yes. But on the big account, I don't really have need for this. This is my GoTanks account. Always pick these up. I'm a little low on shard shop currency right now. I need to open some bronzium packs. So I didn't pick this one up because it's 216. Because as we saw in the graphic earlier, this is one of the less used pieces. This is the most commonly used Gear 12 piece in the game. And this is the most commonly used purple piece, support piece. So always check this, always pick those up. You don't really have to do much else other than that. Like, if you do it, if you're disciplined every single time, that's like 12, that's 48 pieces per day. And then that's close to 300 per week, or maybe more than 300. So it's just a lot of pieces if you're disciplined about it. Another currency that is nice for the Gear 12 pieces is Get 1. However, there's a big caveat to that where there's very important characters you need to farm with it. You have Wampa and Hermit Yoda. We're currently working on Malik now, so I'm not using this currency for anything else. And then there's General Skywalker when you unlock him. To get him from him and Malik, you go from 5 stars to 7 stars. Costs about 70,000, get 1 each. So yeah, if you want a horde to have them ready to go to 7 stars right away, not as necessary since you can relic them now at 5 stars. But you need a lot of it for that. Once you are past that, I mean, it's open season on these pieces. So you just look through, see basically what you're low on, and you pick it up. I don't recommend any of the sub Gear 12 gear with it or the shard. If you're very new, very beginning, maybe this can help you get an edge in fleet. But for the most part, after the top tier characters, this is what you use that for. And it's a luxury. I'll admit, I did use my fair share of these before I went for Malik, because I was thinking, I don't care about Malik. I'm not going to go for Malik anytime soon. So I've used thousands and thousands of this on my GoTanks account. That has really helped me in a pinch when because it depends on what you value. Is one character really worth the 70,000 pieces that you get to build up a bunch of other characters to Gear 13? So I made that trade-off myself, and I have picked up a fair amount of these even before finishing off all the characters. And just so I mention it in some way, shape, or form, you can use normal energy on the Gear 12 pieces. Some nodes are better than others. This is a pretty good one because this eyeball is a very high demand piece. This is good for, it's very high demand, and then it's also good for Relic 5 materials. This one, not so much. So it's hit or miss. This one, I'd recommend if you are going to farm a normal energy node, probably go with this or the other piece that is like the most commonly farmed thing. It's not ideal. I still recommend almost exclusively doing the Kyrotech piece, like I'll do right now. It's just like, it's so valuable. But there is that option if you're really in a rush for particular Gear 12 pieces. So what about finisher salvage? How do we go about getting this? Well, I'll tell you, I can count on like 2 fingers the amount of times I've had to intentionally farm up a Gear 12 finisher or Gear 13 finisher salvage piece. One was for Jedi Knight Anakin when I was first starting the account and trying to get him to relics for fleets before I had a lot of relic characters. I think it was my first relic character ever. And then the second one was pretty recently. It was for, I forget which character, but I just had run out of one of these types. And I'm close here. I can only do 2 more. But the way you're getting these primarily is from assault battles, specifically the first 7. So there's kind of groups of 7 and 2. So the first 7 assault battles that we had come out have basically an identical reward structure with the earlier nodes, earlier levels giving kind of varied stuff with shards and stuff. And then we have Duel of the Fates and Pretty Patrol. Those don't have finishers. What you want to do, you want to go through some of these. Let's look at Places of Power. I recently just finished this. As long as you can get to Challenge Tier 1, which is not really that hard. You don't need Gear 13. You don't even need Gear 12 in some cases to get done with Challenge Tier 1. You're going to get 5 each piece of finisher. And these run once a month. So Inquisitors is a little bit harder. You're going to need a lot of Kyrotech in Gear 13 already to get done with them. I don't know the exact requirements to get it done with Challenge Tier 1, but they're just more steep because all Kyrotech characters. These, you can use old characters, and you're going to get pretty far. So let's say you just get the first 6 done to Challenge Tier 1, which I've had for quite a long time on this Gotenks account. That's 30 of each piece per month. And then also on the episode track, you have a few tranches in there that have finishers, so I can get 20 of this piece. I don't know what there's 10 of this piece. I don't know if I don't think it's even across each finisher piece. I don't know why. I did get a reward previously for, well, maybe it is. Maybe you get 10 there, maybe it's 20 here. I don't know exactly, but you get some on the episode track, the free track. So make sure you're just trying to climb this as much as you can, doing your dailies, doing the galactic challenges to the max you can, and absolutely not skipping any of those quests because they're all very doable for pretty much anybody. And this is like a good resource for just, you know, you want to be doing it just to get a little bit of extra gear for Gear 12 as well. It's just all over the place, little tranches here and there. As far as the episode currency, I really don't recommend leveraging that for Gear 12 to Gear 13, except for Kyrotech. I buy the Kyrotech on this account. For like later stage accounts, it's all about the Omicrons, and I need to be buying those more. If you're in a pinch, I guess this isn't bad. So like 5 pieces for 1,200, that's much better than there's 1,000 for 2 on the Gear 12 Plus. So the finishers, not so bad here. I just like this one I have 500 of. I'm not going to be needing that anytime soon. If you're in a pinch, it's not the worst thing, but absolutely don't use your episode currency on Gear 12 Plus or Gear 12 or like any of this gear down here. It's just too valuable. So yeah, if you are finishing this whole episode track, or at least getting up to the point where you've picked up all the Gear 13 finisher pieces, which is not that far, you're getting probably 50 of each per month. So that's 3 Gear 13s a month. And that's a pretty good pace if you get 3 a month. I get probably a little bit over that. Maybe it's between 3 and 4. But that's quite a good pace if you're getting those assault battles done and getting the episode track. You're going to have plenty of those finisher pieces available. And then, of course, there's the catch-all of like, Territory Battle and Territory Wars. Getting a guild where, you know, the best you could do, this Rise of the Empire reward. So this 22 box, it has a potential for fully crafted Gear 12 or Gear 12 Plus pieces, and you're going to get some scraps one way or another. But that's not really targeted farming. Also for Territory Wars, the rewards haven't changed in forever, so the wiki is still updated. Sadly, I don't think it's maintained as it used to be. But yeah, you're going to get some pieces, not a huge amount of income, but just be an active guild. Like the raid is the most important thing, but then also TB and TW, really important for that. And then you can get Kyrotech on the special missions planets, or like Zepho. And the guild I'm in does not do get to Zepho or Mandalore. My main account does. It really takes a big guild or like very specialized guild to get those, get all that Kyrotech. But you know, special missions get a lot of get 2 or get 3, and you can use those for gear 12 plus. And another kind of catch-all that I think a lot of people will be surprised that I do utilize is Conquest Currency. So for Conquest, on my main account, I almost exclusively use my currency on the new characters, because I'm just trying to get the newest character. I want them no matter what. But on the small account, I need to be honest with myself. Am I going to use this character anytime soon? Do I want to rush finishing them? Do I care if I have to wait 2 years to get them? If the answer is no, I'm kind of free to use that currency. So for SM33 Mouse Kanata, I don't see myself really rushing pirates on this account because they're all brand new and there's plenty of other great stuff to go for. So I'm free to use a lot of that currency. You go to Sector 1. I think it's the best for Scavenger. So this is going to go for signal data too, and that's relic specific. You don't need that to get to gear 13, but they have all kinds of stuff in here. The injector, or like the injector, the gear 13 finisher salvage, not the best value. It's 180 for 10, so it's 18 per. But the gear 12 plus is like 15 per, and that you see, I bought that. Like if I am in need of specific pieces, I'm really trying to get some to gear 13. I just go to the find function and then see where it's at. And thankfully, this is in Sector 1. This is hard Conquest. I think they have a similar one, if not the same, in normal Conquest. But there's all kinds of stuff here. I don't recommend the gear 12 support pieces here because it's the same cost as just the gear 12 plus normal pieces. But the gear 12 flat is great value. It is, it costs 60 for 5, so it's 12 currency for 1. And they have like everything in here. It's just so much. So I think this is a great resource if you're not trying to rush those characters, which you have to be realistic about whether they matter to you or not. If a new Conquest unit comes out that's not a pirate and is someone that would fit well into my teams, I'm not going to be doing this. I'm going to be really pushing hard with that character. But just try to leverage every resource you have to what you need at the time. So I believe that is all the tips and tricks I know for gear 12 to gear 13 farming. There could be something I leave out. There's always something, I forget here and there. One thing, don't use crystals to buy pieces directly. I just don't think any of them are good value. But I just wanted to show you how this approach has helped me thus far. This is my GoTanks account. I started at the very beginning of 2024, like January 1st, 2024. So I'm 18 months, a year and 8 months, so 20 months in. I have 68 gear 13s. I am not buying any Lightspeed bundles, Lightspeed tokens that get to gear 13. I haven't spent any money on this account. It's all just trying to be efficient with the farming, in leveraging an active guild and just really scraping and squeezing every piece of gear I can leverage to get to that goal, because it's really important getting from gear 12 to gear 13. It's like one of the biggest jumps you can have. Once you get there, a few relic levels is no big deal. Like relic 3, not an issue at all. So anyway, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think. I hope this helped. Hope you learned something. And yeah, happy to share. Thanks for watching. Bye.